Shalom. I'd like to start out by giving all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, or Chakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of Israel. This is the Mayim in Atlanta, and the other week during class, the officer Shamak went into some of the notable executive decisions of the presidents over the ages. And so that brought up the idea of Rex 84, COINTELPRO, and some other topics. But what we have right here, Malthusianism, that came up as well. So I wanted to take a look at that and take a look at some scripture as well. And so it says Malthusianism is the theory that population growth is potentially exponential, according to the Malthusian growth model, while the growth of the food supply or other resources is linear, which eventually reduces living standards to the point of triggering a population decline. And thinking in this manner is just a scarcity mindset. And the Lord did not impart that unto us. He gave us faith, the gift of faith. But on the other end of this, I have seen certain growth models and things that would concur with this theory. And one of the popular models that I've seen is the mouse utopian experiment, in which they took a bunch of mice and they put them into a food abundant environment or resource abundant environment, and at first they're all having a great time, eating all they want, breeding, and the population starts increasing and increasing all the way up to where the mice were acting really strange. Like the female mice started acting more masculine, and the male mice started acting more feminine. They started avoiding each other and acting in a individualistic way. And eventually that society completely, or this mouse society and this utopian experiment, it all collapsed. And I forget if the mice died or what happened, but it was basically too much of a good thing for them. And then the population increased without them being able to keep up with food. Just, it did not work out. So just to point out, there is some truth to this idea of population and resources kind of being at a head with each other. But going back to this article, or back to Wikipedia, it says this event, called a Malthusian catastrophe, also known as a Malthusian trap, a population trap, a Malthusian check, Malthusian crisis, a point of crisis, or Malthusian crunch, occurs when population growth outpaces agricultural production, causing famine or war. It says initially, right before the crisis, poverty and inequality will increase as the price of assets and scarce commodities goes up due to fierce competition for these dwindling resources. And does this not sound like what we're seeing with inflation and the division that we're seeing, plus the rampant rise in homelessness here in America? It almost seems like we're living through this Malthusian crunch as it's described. Keep on moving down. It says this increased level of poverty eventually causes depopulation by decreasing birth rates, and that's something else that gets complained about often, especially in Edomite society, because their birth rates are dwindling and they're not able to keep up this so-called majority position in which they're in. It says as time goes on and asset prices keep increasing, social unrest occurs, which ultimately causes a major war, revolution, or a famine. Societal collapse is an extreme but possible outcome from this process. Such a catastrophe inevitably has the effect of forcing the population to correct back to a lower, more easily sustainable level quite rapidly due to the potential severity and unpredictable results of the mitigating factors involved, as compared to the relatively slow timescales and well understood processes governing unchecked growth or growth affected by Preventive checks. Malthusianism has been linked to a variety of political and social movements, but it almost always refers to advocates of population control. So, eugenicists, this is linked to them. And you can see that Esau has a lot of theories built off of this, especially with eugenics and trying to limit population growth. And so from there, you see things like the alphabet agenda be pushed because that's to check population. You see feminism be pushed because that's to check population. It prohibits, or not prohibits, but it lowers household formation, and it also destroys families because they've given the woman the right to leave whenever she wants and to basically conduct herself in whichever manner she sees fit, which is usually the wrong manner for continuing households and society. So you do see these things in Esau's society, and you can tell he's basically grown and pushed these ideas out because this is a big concern for them, because they have a scarcity mindset. The Lord's not he hasn't allowed the earth to completely flourish under the Edomites, and this comes from one of the curses of Cain, which Cain or Esau is the reincarnation of Cain. And so you see this with all of Esau's progeny now, to where they feel like they have to carry out certain eugenics programs to limit the population, and especially with the population that they don't like, that being first and foremost the Israelites, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And so they have this scarcity mindset, this and a complete lack of faith, even though the Lord takes care of everything. He's the reason the sun comes up, which allows the plants to grow and for life to flourish, and he provides food to everyone. But Esau doesn't see it that way. He's in this scarce mindset, which really drives that greed, because they think everything is limited. All the resources are limited, that the earth is only so large and can only accommodate so many people, that they have all these wicked plans and wicked ideas to decrease the earth's population. And they're doing it themselves with what they have coming down the pipes, with mass depopulation, which will come through famine. It'll come through the economy collapsing. It'll come through war. It'll come through social unrest and these different revolutions that are about to pop off. It comes through all of these, which it's almost Esau's doing this in the background, but it's almost a self-predicting prophecy, if that's the correct word, self-fulfilling. All these things that they fear, and the routes that they're going to try to correct it, eventually all turns on itself and eats them. As it says in Proverbs and throughout the scriptures, that he that digs a pit is going to fall into it. So they've set all these things up to try to mostly limit the Israelites and try to put themselves up high, but it's all not working out for them. The feminism in the alphabet stuff is it's leading to their decreased birth rates, and it's leading to their depopulation, and it's going to eventually lead, well, not just the feminism and alphabet lifestyle, but all of their plots and schemes is going to lead to their complete fall of their empire. All of Western society and everywhere that Esau has a hold, it shows that they're not good managers of the earth, and they're going to lose that power because it's prophesied, and because they're making terrible, terrible decisions being at the head of the earth right now. But the Lord has it all worked out that way so that the elect of Israel can see how not to be. They're the great example of how not to be. But at Malthusianism, I believe a lot of that comes from them not being able to get the full fatness of the earth, to get all of what the earth has to offer. And so this is Genesis 4, right after Cain slew his brother Abel. Genesis 4 and verse 10, and it says, "And he said, What hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground." Because that blood is the life. And it says, "And now art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand." So the Edomites, this is speaking to Cain, but Cain was reincarnated into Esau. And you could see that the earth is not giving everything to these Edomites. They can't keep up with everything the world needs to eat. So they create GMO foods and GMO medications and everything like that, which further goes into people suffering here on the earth. But they can't get that full food supply, and so they have to modify it. And they modify all of the Lord's creation. And they're even going to try to modify people with that C-hip that they want to put into people. They've touched everything. And it basically comes from them not being able to get the fullness from the earth. Verse 12, it says, "When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength." So GMO foods, they have to do that, and they have to do all these population control things, even though the Lord made the earth to be dwelt in by humans, and for it to produce for humans to exist, or to be able to hold this growth. It says, "A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth. And Cain said unto the Lord, My punishment is greater than I can bear." And so from this curse on the people that are currently in power, the earth doesn't produce like it's supposed to, and it's caused them to create all these basically abominable ways in which they can take from the earth, but also, since they're bloody people, they do like to depopulate, because they also have that God complex on them, and they think that they're in control of life and death, and who eats and who lives and dies. But they're not. The Lord's about to take all of that from them. And they also lack any faith whatsoever. And so they basically can't have a righteous society at all. And this is Matthew 6 and 26, because on the other end, there's really nothing to worry about. We shouldn't be worrying about where we're going to sleep and food and all these things. We are under the curses, so it is a lot more scarce right now. But the Lord's got us, especially his elect. This is Matthew 6 and verse 26. It says, "Behold the fowls of the air, for they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feedeth them. Are ye not much better than they?" And so, having that Malthusian theory mindset, that scarcity mindset, that lack of faith, is not for the Israelites to have, because the Lord's got us. He's going to feed us. He's going to clothe us and give us places to stay. And it's not for us to worry about. But Esau has worried about it, and it's going to eventually cost him his kingdom, and it's going to cost a ton of people their lives, besides the fact that they're wicked in the first place. But living in Esau's system has really done that to him, with this scarcity here, overpopulation stuff. All this, it's all nonsense, and it's really just Esau not having full blessing, not having faith, not having an abundance mindset. They're just, which causes them to be so greedy. And so, Lord willing, that was edifying. I'd like to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Urkakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the great millstone, and shalom to the elect of Israel. Shalom.